Uh, the best thing that I could really say right now is the truth, which is that I'm having a really difficult time emotionally handling the fact that my kid was actually sent to sex traffickers and pedophiles after while I was being trafficked across the nation by eh, the specially chosen best trafficker people that were in every town that I went through. The best of the best loser hitmen, loser assassin, douchebag hookers that anybody could possibly hire to hurt somebody. All the worst practitioners in the world were hired to do all these heinous things. And through every bit of that, I wrote to the entire world. I made it public. I went through the embarrassment of putting my whole life and world on blast, and I put every thought of getting personal attention, like for me, or you know what I mean, positive attention. I put all of that aside, and I focused 100% on just like providing as much information as I could, trying to get people's attention on the fact that the kids were in danger, that the kids needed help, that the kids were, about to be sent to these traffickers. Um, I spoke up nearly every single day. I've spent over an hour a day, almost every single day, online, hours, sometimes hours. I will listen to these videos that are made for me, and I would write and write and write, and I would give people, and I would just pour my heart out, and I would give people all the information that I thought that they needed. Every time I thought that a police report, that I could make a police report and that it would support my case, since all these people are apparently building a case against me, that I could make reports to, you know what I mean, help my own case. And I've made like 100 of those. I went so far as to be writing to the FBI and even to the CIA, um, which is absolutely ridiculous. There's, you know what I mean? There should be no reason why I would write to the FBI or the CIA as just a regular civilian. But I did, I was speaking up because I was really that worried for my kids. I'd also spoken up to police. Yeah, I spoke up to police in multiple different states and let them know what had happened and what was happening. And they didn't seem to really accept it the way that I was telling them. They wouldn't accept that I was a victim because they had some other preconceived notion, and they had already been told to treat me in a completely different way. So across the United States, I was not allowed to get help from any domestic violence shelter anywhere. They had me on some special list or something. I've never been in a domestic violence shelter, but apparently, if you are specially targeted for any reason and you're a female, and they know that you're going to be like running for your life and needing places to, get safety and to get help, or that you might be trying to desperately find a place to protect your kid or get, help like that. Um, they'll simply make it to where you can't get into any domestic violence shelters anywhere. All across the U.S., I would stop at domestic violence shelters. I would let them know what my issue was, and they would tell me that they were trying to get me in, and then they would go start running my name. And whatever would happen when they would run my name, they would get information that would tell them not to assist me. So that's been really lousy. And if I try to go to a regular shelter, I guess that the gang members in the shelter are all paid to drive me out of the shelter, and that the people who run the homeless shelters across the United States are all human traffickers. They're all traffickers, and they're people who assist in the sex trafficking and child trafficking business. Um, and what they'll do is they'll try to make sure that certain people don't um, that they don't do well there, that they are unprotected while they're there, and also that they get kicked out early and they don't ever complete any programs for anything. Someone who's been targeted like this for trafficking, they or their kids being targeted for trafficking, especially when the cops are working together, when, you've got cops and corrupt CYFD and all that working together, you'll have all of these people who are assigned to go to all these different programs. And sometimes the programs will even say that the person passed or the person made it through, but the person actually didn't. And no one would have made sure that that person made it through or completed or graduated any kind of program or anything like that, because, it wouldn't actually do anyone else any good for, this targeted victim person to succeed in any way, in anything. So right now it's just really difficult for me. Like, I do feel very discriminated against, very much so, like overly discriminated against. This is way more than discrimination. This is a hate crime, but it's more than just a hate crime. It's more than just prejudice. It's more than just, it's even more than persecution. Like, it's worse than any of that. It's a cruelty that most people would never understand and never know. So to hear about anyone's little diagnoses about me at the same time that you guys are, that so many different people are actively working together to like just blatantly bully me, that is absolutely terrible. The fact that anybody would be like, let's make a little diagnosis about this person, at the same time that you're abusing them and actively torturing them, and that they're having to run for their lives and protect their lives, and to try to speak up and do everything that they can to save their own children's lives. Like, this is bad, you guys. Like, you've driven, you've taken someone and you've driven her out onto the streets, taken everything away from her, and then you tell her that she has to have a phone. We're going to take your kid away, and if you don't keep your phone on, then you're not a good enough mommy, and you're not a real mommy. So you better keep your phone on, and we better always be able to get a hold of you. And then they'll do shit like have me held hostage, and I'll still have I'll get away from the hostage situation. I'll go and I'll beg on the streets for the money for a phone. I'll get the phone turned on and I'll call, and they'll be upset that I'm calling. I have my phone on for the entire year afterwards, and they'll be like, oh, we couldn't contact her that one time a year ago, or that one time 2.5 years ago. She was difficult for us to contact. So, like, this has been really rough, you guys. Like, I've been speaking up about this. This has gone on for so long. This has gone on for so long, you guys, and I've lived through all these attacks and all these attempts against my life. You would not believe how many times that I've been poisoned out here, and how many times that I've been set up. People have tried to set me up to go to jail, or to get hurt. That people have poisoned me, that they've put all different kinds of shit in my food and drink, y'all, that they've run me into the ground. They've robbed me. They've made sure that there's nowhere for me to sleep at night. I'm sure over the last few months or whatever I've been here. And as I've been here, it's basically like any kind of situation, basically until someone actually intervenes about the stalking, I'll always be somewhere where these stalker douchebags have access to me through whoever I am, or through whoever I'm around. Anywhere that I go, doesn't matter where I go. One part of it is that my family is involved in the pedophilia and Freemasons and the Eastern Stars. I'm sorry if you guys are in the Eastern Stars and Freemasons and you think that you're innocent. That's really cool. You should probably get out of those groups. because they are evil, and they have tracked me across the U.S. and done terrible things to my kids and I. So I have nothing for them, nothing good for them at all. I have nothing good to say about them, and I never will. My grandfather was like a Freemason. I even was supposed to receive some kind of inheritance. He put my cousin and I through some kind of Freemasonic ritualistic test to figure out which one of us got the Freemason, whatever Freemasonic treasure trove, inheritance, whatever. And I actually won that ritual outright, fair and square, when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I fucking got that. And you know what I mean? I was the kid who got that one. And so it does fucking piss me off that my great grandfather even like whittled me a fucking staff that day because I'd won that fucking shit, or I'd fucking, you know what I mean, done the fucking thing right or whatever. And I'd fucking, that stick alone was cool as fuck. And I didn't get anything inheritance wise ever, but I still had that cool as fuck stick. And these fucking retards tracked me the fuck across the country, and they fucking robbed me of everything that I fucking had multiple times. But that first time, whenever I had that fucking staff with me, that was fucking really shitty. They fucking robbed me of everything. Like I had with me at the time, every photo that I had a collection of photos. And because I really loved keeping photos, and I had a huge ass collection of photos with me. It was like every photo that I'd ever collected in my life. And I know that sounds fucking crazy as fuck. I had a lot more than that with me. But I thought for sure that I would make it somewhere where people would be like, yo, yeah, you can bring that shit in here. You could chill for a second, and that people might actually help and ask me what was going on. But those who are responsible for everything that was happening to me, they were able to, because for the most part I was on foot, you know what I mean? For the most part that of being vulnerable, it was because I was on foot and that I didn't have a car. That's been the worst part of it, is the not having a car part, and then being able to just completely control who I interact with, as I'm picked up and dropped off places, and it's just so fucking easy for them. They don't even have to, it's not even as complicated as it would be if they were having to track and fuck with somebody who had a car. So just completely fucking, just a sitting duck basically everywhere I go. And then whenever I would actually get away from everybody, and people maybe didn't know where I was, and things would calm down a little bit, then it would be like a CPS worker would call me and be like, oh, I'm not really on your case anymore, but I was just calling to ask you where you are. I would think was a complete like weird privacy concern and stuff, especially if you have to be worried about these people being traffickers. I mean, those are the people who handle the kids and the parents and stuff. And there's, just such a huge crisis with all these drugs, and they have to take all these fucking kids away. They didn't take my kids away for opiates. They didn't take my kid away for fentanyl, for nothing like that ever. It's just really difficult for me to process that a mom, whether you like the mom or not, you can fucking hate the mom, okay? But if a mom speaks out, even if it's the biggest criminal overlord, you know what I mean? Kingpin, drug smuggling, whatever. If that person speaks up online and asks the feds or asks whoever, law enforcement, whatever, speaks out and is like, hey, will you guys please go rescue my kid? My kid is going to end up with fucking murderers and sex traffickers. My kid is going to end up with people who make fucking child pornography. The second, third generation down from people who made child pornography of me personally when I was a little kid. And I'm fucking telling people that. And I'm actually making videos about it. And I'm writing about it. How fucking embarrassing. Well, and it's so fucking embarrassing, everything that I'm fucking writing. Day after fucking day after fucking day. And I'm fucking poor. Nobody lets me have a fucking real attorney. Every time I try to contact a fucking attorney, I guess that they're told not to call me back, or not to respond to me and not to represent me. They're all told to tell me that they can't fucking help me, even legal aid. But as soon as I get my phone back on again, I'm going to fucking start calling them up again in a second. Like, I don't fucking know what else to do. And I know that everybody else just wants me to be a criminal. That's just like all, it seems like all that they're trying to do is just get me to be a criminal and to, so yeah, like really trying not, I'm not interested in doing things in a criminal way like you guys do. Okay. Like, you guys just had me trafficked across the entire United States. You guys had dudes trying to stick drugs in my face everywhere I went. I let everyone know that I was not fucking interested. I have not been interested in anything like that. You know, and it's taken a lot to escape from all of these situations. I literally had to escape. If I wasn't getting pushed out and kicked out and driven out, I was having to escape. I'm not sure you guys actually understand how much it actually has taken to escape every single one of the trafficking houses that I was sent to. And every one of the situations that I'm in, I have to play shit off and be a certain way so that I can maintain some level of safety in my life at all. You know, I can't really let people give me food or drink or anything. I can't trust people while I'm asleep. They like to tiptoe around me, I guess, while I'm asleep and take pictures. And they're able to sell those pictures, and they like to let other people in the house while I'm asleep. And these are issues that I've spoken up for a long time about that someone could have helped me with before now, and no one has helped me with that. And not only has no one helped me with that, but you guys let me get tracked down by the same people who are doing it to me. And then you let my kid be taken away and given to them. And I spoke up the entire time trying to prevent that from happening. I ran and I ran and I ran with this little boy while I had amnesia. I ran with a little boy away from bad guys. They thought it was funny, and to them it was the Hunger Games and the human hunting games. They still think it's funny. That's what they do. That's what happened to a lot of the missing people. And you're not supposed to know how many people are missing. That's supposed to be all digital, and they're supposed to have just been able to erase a bunch of those people, and you never even know that they were ever born to begin with. I had the choice to be a psychopath like everybody wants me to be. I had the choice to go out and to buy weapons and go out and hurt some of the people who I knew were responsible for running a pedophile sex trafficking ring. Don't think that it didn't cross my mind at some point. When you're dealing with people who violently assault and, I guess, film themselves with children and single moms and things of that nature with their own, family members and shit, that actually does leave an impression on a person, especially when justice never comes, when justice is never served, when no one gives a fucking single fuck about justice, including the justice system, which is really fucking bizarre. Like, I could have been a psychopath like people wanted me to be, but I actually do love my kid, and I really actually do want to be a mother. I'm not trying to give anyone any reasons to not ultimately give me my child back and give me whatever is due to me and allow me to actually live my fucking life. I don't appreciate being a slave this entire time. And not only did you make me a slave, but you've made my children slaves. That is fucking trash. That is the ultimate fucking trash. And I've spoken up about that, and I've spoken up about that, and I've spoken up about that. Other people have spoken up about that. Even my haters who want to call them my fans, even my haters have spoken up about that. Even though to a lot of them, it's just funny. It's funny that because we couldn't do whatever it was that we wanted to do to this mom, that we, hurt her kids instead. That's absolutely sick. But apparently there's a lot of people who, behind the scenes, even when I heard federal agents who were able to snicker about what's happening, it's fucking horrible. I could have spent all of those hours, countless hours that I have spent speaking into the microphone and texting it out. I didn't even start using the microphone thing until like a year ago. Everything up until then was completely like almost 100% texted out, thumb by thumb for thumb. I don't really have access to a computer. I do have some typing skill. I've had a Bluetooth keyboard a couple times. They were stolen from me. I can't manage to have anything for very long without them stealing it from me, especially phones, because they like to use the phones to pretend that they're me. That's especially irritating. Apparently, my sisters or cousins or whoever have used my picture and my identity to hit up what is who are described as high-profile dudes, and that they were able to scam these dudes and get a certain amount of money from them or whatever, using my face or using my identity or using phones that they still have on in my name, which my grandma did say to me once. She was like, Nana, I'm going to keep this phone on even though we got you another phone. And then another time when my grandmother came to visit me, I got robbed of my cell phone while I was in a hotel asleep. A dude, actually, a black figure, I actually watched come into the hotel room, and it was a conjoined room that my grandmother had paid for. And I know that my grandmother let this person into the room, and that person actually stole my iPhone. It was an iPhone that Mike bought. And that was another thing, was that Michael would buy these devices for me, supposedly. And he would set them up, and I would begin to use them, even though I knew that people were only going to try to use them for surveillance and to monitor me and to set me up in all these different ways, that they were only going to try to use the phones against me. Like, of course, if you're only bullied every fucking day of your life and you live under oppression and people are just holding you hostage in a place and everybody's just making sure that you just stay poor and that you never do anything and that you never go anywhere, that you don't have any money to spend, and that there's no one to speak to outside of the people who are all paid to be around you, to keep an eye on you and answer back about you. All that I've dealt with my entire life. I'm almost 40 years old and I'm treated like I'm 13 years old and I have to be watched all the time. It's absolutely horrific. Like, I've been put through an awful lot, an obstacle course out here, an absolute horrific satanic fucking obstacle course that these motherfuckers put me through. I went through all that. And I wrote about my kid the entire time, trying to warn people what was going to happen. Warning people about what the plans were ahead of time. Letting people know so that they would please be there when the time came to please rescue my kid. Because it didn't really seem like anyone was paying attention. So I spoke out, even while I was struggling. Even these trafficker people would let me in their house, or they'd pick me up or whatever, and I would ignore them half the time, sitting there writing about everything that was going on. Every time any of these people would pick me up, I would spend almost the entire time that I was indoors writing about everything. Sitting here like this, like letting people know, because whenever I'm out there on the streets, it does get difficult to just like chime in. Oh, hey, I look worse than I've ever looked in my whole life, and I've been starving for 4 days, and I look like shit, and I haven't taken a shower in however long, and I just had to run away from these traffickers and all this shit. And it's like, at what point do you actually want me to chime in and let people know and just start letting the public know what's happening day by day, a day by day, play by play? The other channels were shadow banned right away. I'm really surprised that anybody's let this one sit this long. Like, why would you have me show up to all these court hearings for nearly 2.5 years, and then finally at the end of all of them tell me that I'm disabled? So, like, I don't know what to do. I got on to the they took my kid and told me that they took my kid because my family says that I'm disabled, and that I've been disabled since I was a teenager. And my family are part of the people who have had me trafficked across the United States, and they also had me trafficked in place in my own apartment. and they've had me basically sex trafficked my entire life. I had to actively stop letting people into my apartment and stop letting people sleep with me at several different times. Like over the course of the last several years, I've had to, like, you know what I mean, start, like, you know what I mean, putting boundaries up with people. And they, like, at this point, I haven't actually let anybody do anything with me. It's been over a year and a half. And there was a trafficker there. There were a couple trafficker type dudes within a couple few months of each other. One that ended up being like this real aggro dude. Like, he was supposed to be somebody who worked for Homeland Security, or was he was a federal agent. He said that he gave tactical training and stuff. And I actually, like, I thought that the dude was actually going to be all right at first. And then he took me over to a computer and he opened it up and he showed me, like, this girl just being, like, just brutalized. And it was, like, not even really that, it wasn't really kinky. It was just brutality. It was just retarded. It was just, like, senseless. Just, like, you might as well have just got in the ring with her and just started boxing her, dude. Because there wasn't anything hot about it. And he asked me if I would be interested in it. And I was like, I kind of told him that I wasn't really going to be interested in anything like that. And to make a long story short, he basically tried to fucking do all that shit with me anyways while he was all drunk and retarded and shit. It didn't really work out for him really very well. We didn't actually accomplish there wasn't really anything that technically, he was just a little bit fucking retarded, but that dude was a fucking sex trafficker. You know what I mean? So it was like, I met somebody who worked for fucking Homeland Security. He was, a federal agent, teaches tactical training and all this shit. And for all I know, I mean, that could have been one of the dudes who molested me whenever I was a fucking baby. You know what I mean? That could be a dude who's in this pedophile sex ring since way back. I don't fucking know. And then before all that shit, it was about a year and a half that of me not letting anybody touch me either, because I was being sent through a fucking, this fucking national fucking through all these fucking traffickers and shit like that. And I was absolutely fucking handed and passed through all these people. I even watched people pay cash to hand me off. Like, they didn't get anything out of it personally, but a lot of them did have cameras. You know what I mean? They would have, like, a room that you'd go in and you know what I mean? Be like, oh yeah, thanks for giving me this bed. Hey, cool. This person gave me a bed and I can take a shower. Lo and behold, there's fucking cameras and all that shit. And they're sitting outside of the room getting ready to fuck with the temperature shit. And halfway through your shower, you're all of a sudden going to lose your, hot water and all that shit. And, or they do whatever dumb shit. A lot of the times toilet paper ends up being something that they will have guys, especially traffickers, complain about, or people who are involved in these different stupid ass control tactics over women and shit like that. It's always like the toilet paper shaming or toilet paper withholding and just weird different fucking retarded shit that they do with toilet paper, and they act like toilet paper is a big deal or whatever. They act like they can use toilet paper as an abuse scheme or method or whatever to hold over women, because the guys act like they don't ever need toilet paper. Only the women need toilet paper. It's fucking retarded. They probably don't fucking use toilet paper, fucking dumbasses. And no, I'm not talking about all guys, so don't even fucking twist it like that. I'm talking about these fucking trafficker dum-dums. Literally made it through so much, it's fucking film worthy. And motherfuckers want to try to say that I'm fucking disabled, and they let my kid go fucking live with sex traffickers. And I gave them advance notice that those were the plans for my kid. Fucking really early, like the first notice I gave them, I was 3 years old. I'm 39 today. Really, really difficult for me to just not be needed in any way, for just like for people to just act like the world is basically that I don't exist. that I'm not actually a part of the world, that I don't have any say, that my voice doesn't matter. I think that a lot of people in this situation are upset because usually whenever they push moms and dads out onto the streets and that they try to sex traffic them, they can usually probably get them all fucked up on dope pretty fast. And get them locked up one way or another, or have them, overdosed, or turn them to prostitutes, and just get people to where they never want to fucking actually speak up, or they don't even have the fucking sense enough to speak up for themselves or speak up for their kids. In this situation, I definitely noticed that you guys were after my kid, and that was way back when. It's been 5 or 6 years ago at least. And I wasn't interested in you guys, kidnapping my kid and using him for your sick shit then, and I'm still not today. I mean, whatever agencies or organizations or whatever we can fucking duke it out if you really want to about it. I know that I'm right. I'm not going to stop speaking up about it. It's highly fucking irritating to me that I have had to put myself out here like this, and that this is how the world gets to know who I am, rather than through, any of, anything good that I've ever tried to do, or anything, no beautiful reason about me, not for any skill that I have, just that I need help rescuing my kids from pedophiles. It would be really cool to actually be able to speak up and speak out about, the shitty fucking state of affairs, as far as all the crimes that are being committed against civilians. It would be really cool to be able to be one of the voices crying out from the wilderness who do prepare and try to protect people. Unfortunately, I have had to spend so much time just trying to protect my own child, and I haven't been successful in that either. So, until I can actually save my own kid's life, it's kind of, it puts me at a fucking screeching halt as far as any other way that I could possibly. I've waited the last few months for a social security card to come in the mail. Yeah, I've needed to get a new driver's license since you guys had me robbed in Reno of all my phones and my Cash App card, PayPal, my driver's license, everything that I fucking owned. I did try to make a report about that. The bitch wanted to act like a fucking dumbass cunt, so I couldn't. I did, however, make a report about that in a sort of roundabout way at a casino where the guy that you guys had me robbed, the guy who you guys had robbed me, he took me to one of these casinos, and we were both seen inside the first time that he tried to run off and rob me and leave me there. You can actually see in the video where he stops and tells me that he'll be right back. And then I sit there for a second, and then I realize that he's not coming back and that he's about to leave in the vehicle without me. You can actually see us leaving elevators at the same time on the same floor while he's trying to run to the car and get there before I do so that he can take off without me. And that's the first time that he tries to rob me. And that is a setup that the police are involved in because they were ready for me to call whenever I called. And yeah, the dispatch bitch was a complete ass fucking cunt, and she was prepared to be a fucking rude dumb bitch and to block any kind of attempts that I would make to make a report that night that I got robbed of everything that I owned in a weird fucking place that I've never been, fucking shithole Reno, Nevada. I'm gonna say it like Nevada all I want because they fucking hate it whenever I say it like that. And Nevada is a fucking shithole where they're obsessed with prostitution and fucking gambling, and you can't even go through there through there without getting fucking robbed. It's fucking retarded. It's fucking Sodom and Gomorrah. Fuck Reno. So anyways, I made a report with the staff there that one of my acquaintances who had brought me back to that shithole is a fucking trafficker who stole all my shit. And there's, video evidence of him in his fucking car and shit. And so they got that information, and, that's just one of the small cases that I'm waiting to return back to whenever, people finally bring me a court summons or give me some kind of information, or I actually get even one attorney. And, you know, my first real attorney that I get, that's going to be basically just cracking open a can of worms. And from there, it's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And it's really sad to me that I need those lawsuits to be federal lawsuits. Like, I mean, I would really like for the feds to actually be on my side, like on the same page with me as a victim. But like they apparently don't want to be, which is highly irritating to me. Like, it really feels to me, I mean, I could be wrong, but this whole time I've just felt like I've just been made out to be a criminal, that I'm just being treated like a complete criminal. I've been treated like a criminal and been treated so poorly that I don't even want to be in the United States anymore. It is so fucking bad here, you guys. Like, this is the worst. For me to have been raised up and told that I live in a free country and that I have constitutional rights and I have human rights and all this shit, and I don't fucking have any of that shit. I don't fucking have any of that shit. I'm supposed to live in the freest country in the world, and we're supposed to be this power country and all this fucking bullshit. And I have no fucking rights here whatsoever. I have to literally run for my life. I have to put up with fucking bullshit. Yeah, nobody will just let me live a normal life. I can't actually, like I said, I've been waiting for a fucking social security card. I ordered a social security card so that I can actually get a driver's license again. For some reason, I have to go through extra special hoops to get a birth certificate from my own home city. So, that sucks. But at least a social security card could have come in the mail within a 3-month period of time, and it hasn't yet. So now I have to call the Social Security Administration and be like, what is the deal? Why, you know what I mean? Why don't I have this card? Did you guys send it? Did somebody else block me from getting it when it got to their mailbox? Like, I'm not understanding why I still don't have, like, I've parked in this place for a few months. I can't stay here forever. I'm going to have to leave from here, and I don't have a fucking driver's license, and I've been here for fucking months. The only thing I could succeed in getting was a fucking food stamp card, which I'm appreciative of. It's great, but this is fucking still really hard for me, you guys. I'm so sorry for cussing this much, but it really is that bad. I got a medical card. That's great. I'm afraid to go get any medical help at all because of them doing this medical martial law shit on me, and it's horrible. You know, I'm doing my best about the kid thing. All I can do is basically just continue to every day speak up to try to get him help. To continue, I gotta continue to try to make reports. Motherfuckers can try to tell me that I can't make I guess that if they tell me that I can't make reports anymore through whatever agency or whatever, then I guess I just won't make reports through them. I'm going to continue to make reports through everyone that I can. My phone got shut off a few days ago. It'll be back on in a second, but that's been really irritating to be right in the midst of all of this really important shit, and for my phone to get turned off, and then for the person who has been helping me with this stuff to suddenly act like they're fucking broke and they can't even fucking buy toilet paper or whatever the fuck is going on, which is also something that they do. Basically all across the United States, wherever I stay, they'll act like it's cool for a second, but basically because I don't actually sleep with anyone, because I'm not trying to be boyfriend girlfriend with anybody, because I'm not trying to get fucking sex trafficked out here, or hook up with anybody or anything like that. That's not where my focus is. My focus is on rescuing my fucking kid. Because I don't fucking give it up, I have to deal with dudes like acting like they are so broke they can't fucking do anything. They can't fucking afford to help me with whatever all of a sudden, and then I have to watch them, I guess, hand their fucking, you know what I mean, their hookers fucking $7,000 and all this shit. It's whatever, you know what I mean? That's their deal. I'll be gone from here soon. It's just really sad that within the time frame that I was here, the only thing that I could succeed in was getting some stuff, some rings that I ordered in the mail, that were $2 a piece or whatever. from, you know, a Chinese website. I'm not going to name. I got some tarot cards. That's cool. Because that was another thing that I was robbed of in Reno. Tarot cards. Now I can make $10, $5 or something here and there. I'm a hands down legitimate psychic. I can give very accurate tarot readings. I can do house blessings. I have a plethora of supernatural and strange gifts and abilities that no one's interested in. And if they are, it's going to be, you know, if I do it in, you know what I mean, a special way with YouTube or whatever, which is cool. I'm almost afraid to do that because I feel like that if I use my tarot skill, that I'm gonna lose the support of whatever Christian, you know what I mean, of whatever Christian group that I could get support from potentially, or that I'm gonna lose some kind of, you know what I mean. And it's like I'm a Christian. I use tarot. I got special permission from God to do that. I wasn't always allowed to use tarot. You know what I mean? I wasn't always allowed to have a deck of tarot cards in my house. I mean, it's a very powerful spiritual tool. It's not for everyone. It's not for play. You actually do have to be skilled in multiple ways, especially psychologically, to even use tarot cards. It's no joke. So yeah, that's another thing, is all across the country, nobody's really interested in teaming up with me because I'm not interested in having, you know, those kinds of relations with people, because I'm not interested in getting fucking trafficked out here. Also, I heard that I could be the recipient of some money, and you know, I also just want to get my kid back and fucking raise my kid the way that I want. I don't want to have to put up with fucking anybody else, and I don't want to have to put up with no bullshit. Like, why the fuck would I choose one of these people who are potentially traffickers to date or to be with? This is just fucking retarded anyway. So I'm just kept out here fucking forever. I was apparently supposed to be summoned to some kind of court hearing 3 years ago that might involve Elon Musk. I'm not real sure. Anyways, Kuan Yin of I Have No Cut Cards Tarot, she explains into that a little bit further. I don't give a single fuck about anybody's fucking bullshit. Like, there's no reason, like, whatever, there's no reason why my kid should have ended up with fucking traffickers. Like, I put out hella enough information, put this shit on blast in public, wrote this shit in public. I've been like, motherfucker, fucking bitch. I've made it as fucking vile and as fucking as obnoxious and fucking ridiculous and hilarious as I fucking possibly humanly fucking could, just to get people's attention, just in hopes that they wouldn't fucking forget. Even if I pissed them off, and even if I made them like insanely fucking enraged over and over again with what they were reading, I just hope to God that they wouldn't fucking forget me. I just hope to God that they wouldn't forget me, because I really needed those motherfuckers to go save my kid. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. It's really, really upsetting. I don't really know what to do about it. You know, the only thing that I've been able to do with this, you know, whole cell phone thing, like, they literally pushed me out on the streets. They forced me out into nothingness and homelessness, everything. They took everything from me. But they told me that I had to have a phone so that they could contact me. So I've done everything. I've done everything I could to try to keep these fucking stupid phones and to try to keep them on, right? But I wasn't just, you know, gonna just go, like, leave it at that. Like, I would go ahead and use this one tool that I was allowed to have, that I was being forced to have, to try to use it to actually, you know, accomplish missions. And so I really have, you wouldn't believe how much work that I've actually done, and how much work it's taken, even internally, to actually reflect on everything that's happened to me over the course of my life, and to think about how I could piece this all together and what kind of reports I could make on who and who to turn in for what. Like, how can I make this uh, a a case for somebody with just reports alone, with just my phone, and writing everything that I can over the media and exposing everything that I can and making it public. Like, how much can I actually accomplish if I really, you know what I mean? And I would really, put a lot of work into it every day. But apparently not enough. And you wouldn't believe the amount of work that I've done, and everything that I've done, and you know uh, just the everyday little shit that I've had to say no to just to make it this far, every fucking single day in every fucking town that I fucking ended up at. That's a lot of people to have to say no to about a lot of different things. It's a lot of different ways that a person has to defend themselves on their own and protect themselves by themselves. And it's all just really been so that I could get help to make sure that these kids are going to be okay. And it's apparently never been in anyone's cards or plans that the kids would ever be okay. Apparently, it's like no one ever gave a single fuck about that at all, just me. Like, they've just been waiting for me to just lay down and shut the fuck up and die so that they can do whatever the fuck they want to the kids or something like that. It's super fucked up, you guys. Like, just to speak out so much about one thing and just to be completely fucking ignored. And then at the end of it all, people just tell me that I'm fucking disabled and that I've just secretly been disabled my whole life. After going through all this shit, then they're just gonna tell me that I'm disabled. They're getting Social Security checks for me behind my back, so they that should mean that they can take my kids too. It's been really difficult for me to accept that I live in this like super retardo bureaucracy thing where they have to do everything with paperwork and shit like that. They can't just like look at a fucking situation, see that a kid needs fucking rescued, and you know what I mean, get the fucking SWAT team together and just fucking roll in and fucking get the kid. Like, they can't fucking do that. Apparently they have to do all this other fucking dumb shit. They have to specially diagnose the kid's mother first, like that has anything to do with rescuing a fucking kid. And I know that there might be a lot of people who aren't used to listening to ghetto mamas talk. God bless you guys. I'm still a believer in Jesus. I'm still a child of God. I might cuss a lot. I've been like through kind of a lot. I'm not necessarily around people that I need to be watching my mouth around. It's almost the other way around. If you knew what I'd actually been through, if you knew what had actually happened to my kids and I to result in things being this bad and getting to this weirdness level, I'm not sure what you would do or how you would react. But it's definitely difficult. And in that, it's really difficult not to say dumb shit. Like, honestly, I don't know if you heard me talking about in my other videos, probably not. Or maybe because people actually might be able to remember if I say it in a video, but apparently they can't read or remember anything that I write. Like, they would scare me until I felt a terror, the likes of which I didn't even know existed for anyone. A fear that I didn't even know existed. So, most of you probably aren't going to understand what that even is. I can promise you that nearly all of you have not felt or experienced what I'm talking about. Even people who work in fucking emergency rooms don't know what I'm talking about. People who, military personnel who experienced war firsthand, they cannot even, that just almost cuts close to what I experienced. And that doesn't even, it's a different kind of terror. It's a completely different kind of terror. You soldiers who go through that shit, you're trained, you're empowered, you're given weapons, you know what I mean? You have a support network, you have something. Regular civilians do not. So it is especially disgusting and cruel when the military or other agents or agencies are directed to hit civilians, especially untrained civilians. That's fucking horrible. Or to put them through, abuses, to do things to try to make them lose their minds, or other weird, horrible, horrific things that you guys have done. All right. So, as I'm explaining to you that there's a different level of fear that most of you probably haven't experienced, I could also say that there's probably a level of love that you may not know, that you may never have experienced. It's a love that that might even develop if someone you really loved was in danger and you knew that you needed to protect them. Now that love was already there, but anger too can be something that develops, that is going to be a more raw or a deeper, intense kind of anger than maybe people are used to. There's a lot of really deep, intense emotions that come with being the target of murder, of being the target of, rape crimes, of being the target of exploitation. $3 or $4 million worth of exploitation. There's some real anger and, fear and weird shit and weird, intense emotions that come with abuse, being abused, especially for, 39 solid years, and your own children being born, and you trying to, you doing your best to nurture them, and other people being upset about that, and then trying to abuse them, or, me myself, I had to learn how not to be an abuser, and I had to catch myself early on because I had only been around abusers my whole life. I only knew how to be a certain way to kids. I had to learn how to be nice and gentle and sweet. I had to learn how to be those things. I wasn't just poof born perfect, and I'm not perfect. I've never been perfect. I'm not an angel. I'm not an earth angel. I'm none of that shit. Okay. I'm a human. I might sort of be a cyborg and a hybrid in some ways, but I'm still very human. And I was never trained in the same military shit you guys were. So it's especially upsetting to have been put through all this fucking shit, and treated like I am behind enemy lines. Like I have to wait for a certain time frame for rescue. I can't even get rescue within a certain time frame. It's absolutely horrible. Really sad because they haven't, just like I have already said, they haven't actually let me see my kid's face in over a year. They haven't even sent me a picture of him, shown me a picture of him. Like, no one could show me that he's okay. No one could show me that he's not sick. They won't let me talk to him. They let me talk to him a few times. The very last time I talked to him, I told him that I was on my way there to see him and see if he was okay in person. Well, there were a few times that this happened, that I would tell my kid that I was going to go see him, or that I was going to call him at a certain time or whatever. And then they would have me say that. They would wait till I said something like that, and then they would introduce him to my sister. And I'm not sure if my sister that they're talking about, if they're trying to say that that's Cassie. Like I said, it doesn't sound like Cassie. I would have to actually see them, talk to the person, and see if that's really my sister Cassidy, but they didn't let me see her on video call. and they muted me, so I couldn't ask if that was really my sister. And that she's got my, you know what I mean? She's supposed to have my kid. That's the sex trafficker that I keep talking about. She would move into apartments around me and beside me all over the US, like while I was in West Virginia. She's from Amarillo. She would come to West Virginia and be living in an apartment beside me without my knowledge. And she would be orchestrating all kinds of shit. And she would have me under surveillance in there. And she'd be selling the videos and everything. And a lot of people know about that. They've been talking about it on YouTube for the last couple years. So it's really sick and demented to me that my kid actually did end up being sent to her. I was told that Facebook is media, that if you ever really need help and you can't get help, to go and, you know what I mean, put it on blast on the media, or to go to the media. Exposing things online openly, that's one way of technically going to the media with information. You expose it to where any kind of media anywhere, or anyone with access to media, who is everyone, anyone who has access to law enforcement anywhere, anyone can make a complaint or a report, or anyone investigating you or anything will have the information because you put it out there. Like, just to know that I put all that information out there, and that there was not even one investigator who was taking anything that I said seriously, that there was not one person who was, compiling the evidence, that there hasn't been even one person behind the scenes who's at least, you know what I mean? That it's just been one full-fledged attempt to just completely silence me, to just get me to be quiet and to not pay attention to any of my concerns, to like try to discredit me and say that I'm crazy and all this shit. Like, I just went my whole fucking life. I raised kids in poverty. I've had to defend myself this entire fucking time. It wasn't too long ago that I was working 2 jobs, 15-hour shifts. You know what I mean? I've put up with a lot of fucking shit. These people made me take drug tests every fucking single morning for 2 fucking years. And then they had me fucking trafficked this whole fucking time. They wouldn't let me work. They had my boss poison me. They chased me across the fucking country. They've done a lot of really, really bad shit. And then all at the end of it, I find out that they have me, that I'm disabled or whatever, that they actually do have me fucking disabled somehow on paper, and that they fucking did all this, and they were able to take my kid too. Fucking Twilight Zone shit, dude. Like, I'm glad in a way that I've been through all of the really fucking bad, fucked up shit that I have. Otherwise, I would probably have completely lost it. And I mean, I made probably 10 reports to Child Protective Services in 2 different states, about not just trying to save my kid, but trying to save other kids too. Actually, it might be leaning on more like 12 or 15 CPS reports, trying to save my own kid and trying to save other people's kids. One of the kids I was trying to help get rescued is living down by the river in a van right now with a fucking rapist bitch. And I guess CPS just, you know what I mean? The police ran them out of their house, but CPS didn't take the kids or whatever. Super fucking weird, dude. And that dude filmed the shit and everything. But that's how it is. Those people who work for law enforcement, they work for the cops and their informants and stuff like that. And, I guess they get away with making child pornography and molesting little kids and selling drugs and stealing and being a part of murder campaigns and shit like that. Having people fucking raped on video. That's the shit that I was going through as I was, about to be run out of town with human sacrifices. So that I would just be, out here, and it was really difficult to be run out of my house. Like it was really difficult to have to run away from the city that I had chosen to live in. Like, I could have lived in any city anywhere across the United States, but I was there, at least for the moment. I actually needed to be getting my kids and running. And I tried to set things up so that I could get my kids and flee the state and potentially even the country if I needed to, because of how bad things were. And they made me stay there because they gave me 50-50 custody of one of my kids. They only gave me one of my kids back and made me do this stupid 50-50 custody shit with the other kid. And I should have just honestly been like, fuck that. I should have been like, fuck that. And I should have been like, sorry, kid. And just like, you know what I mean? And just left the one kid there and fucking left with the other kid and ran, dude. Like, I don't fucking know what I should have done. Like, I wish that I could have taken the other kid too, but ultimately I wasn't able to take the other kid. And ultimately they'd already pulled the other kid into their bad shit and into their little cult shit. So my older kids already got pulled into this fucking cult shit, and they basically, they can't fucking interact with me at all. If they do, they're going to be told to do bad things to me and shit like that, or about, about the fucking situation, or they're going to be made to do shit that they don't want to do against their mom or whatever. That's all that's fucking happened. It's absolutely fucking horrific. So all of this has severed the relationship between my kids and I. All of them. I lost all of my kids over this. And you guys can decide that I was a bad mom and I didn't really need my kids or whatever. That's great. It wasn't really any your place to judge. How does it make sense that you guys were going to watch and judge, but you're not going to step in to rescue the kid when you know damn well that they need rescued? You didn't need me to tell you that. You didn't need me to make a fuss about it to know that the kid is right now sitting with traffickers and molesters and murderers. Pretty disappointed in the state of affairs, and I know that the only way that this has gone on the way that it has is that this is a hate crime and that I'm being discriminated against. It's way worse than even just discrimination and hate crimes. It's so much worse than that. And I really don't understand where all of the malice is coming from. Even if it's contracts that people weren't able to fulfill, I don't understand where all of the malice and hatred is actually coming from. If your kid was taken away from you and you were trafficked across the U.S. and nobody was listening to you and you knew that your kid was in trouble, you would probably try to speak up somehow too. If all that you had was, a fucking camera and Facebook and stupid ass shit like that, you would probably, if that was what you woke up worried about every single morning and that became what you were consumed with, was making sure that your own kids and maybe all the kids in the next generation did not get molested and sent to sex traffickers. You know what I mean? Like, you guys basically, by not doing anything and just fucking standing aside and just pretending that I don't exist, you've made me like, one of the loudest basically advocates for or against this weird child abuse fucking trafficking campaign thing that you fucking have going on. But I'm ghetto and I'm poor and I'm not trying to be a public speaker or whatever. Like, it's really difficult for me to do this, but I also, at the same hand, if I don't do anything, then I'm not doing anything. I have to at least do something. I can't just not do anything the way you guys want me to do. Just not do anything. They're like, oh, we wish she would just shut up about her fucking kid. We wish she would just decide to not do anything to rescue her kid. We wish she would just shut the fuck up. That's exactly what the fuck is going on here. We don't use children as bait. Okay? We don't send kids in as bait in sting operations. It should not fucking work like that. So you're not going to tell me that my kid's part of a fucking secret sting operation, right? Because that would be fucking retarded, right? Okay? You don't actually need him to stay there for any substantial amount of time to understand what's happening, right? I mean, if you have even one mom or dad who is raising red flags, if you have anybody out here who's like, hey, my kid got sent to sex traffickers, I'm not understanding why no one would take that person seriously. Why is it that however many days has gone by, that however many years has gone by since the first time that I made that statement and nothing has been done about this? You're not going to try to say that it's because I'm disabled. My disabilities shouldn't equal your fucking disabilities. They shouldn't equal limitations for you. Are you disabled? Wow, so you guys can't go rescue the kid because you're too disabled. So you're too disabled now? I'm sorry. There's people in the world who accept excuses and there's people who don't. And all that I hear is just excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. None of them make any sense to me. So any mom should be able to understand this. Any dad who actually loves his kid should be able to understand this. I don't care how I am judged personally. And at this point, like, I do care how I'm judged personally, but like, I my focus is on that the kid needs help. I just don't understand why you guys would let any mom or dad just be out here day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, voicing and writing about and putting it on blast for the entire world what's going on, and that there's no reaction. No fucking reaction at all. It's like nobody can fucking see that shit. It's like people are going to act like no, this is an invisible. We're not really investigating anything here. You know what I mean? We've got her in a DNA research project and all these special crappy investigations, and we've got her on the terror watch list and all these other fucking stupid lists or whatever, but it's a fucking secret. Like, it's definitely not a fucking secret, dude. The fact that you guys can't fucking take any of my reports, that you guys treat me like I'm fucking retarded and like I'm a criminal every fucking time I try to talk to you. Super fucking aggravating. Well, yeah, like, I'm not interested. Like, I'm really not that interested anymore. After this experience, I don't really want to interact with the public anymore. I'm not interested in getting attention, but for the sake of my kid, that's literally the only reason why I'm out here. I super don't give a shit about, socializing anymore, anything like that. I will never care about marriage or anything like that. You guys have absolutely ruined my life. And you've shown me that basically no one gives a fuck, and that I'm going to have to pay a lot of fucking money for any kind of earthly protection. Thank God that I have spiritual protection. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't be here anymore. And you guys did not do anything to protect me on a physical level at all. Like, they don't even protect me in Cyberland, and the feds are supposed to be like all over that whole like cybersecurity, whatever. That's supposed to be like a really big deal, part of their shit. They don't even care about that part. My own family like literally breaks into federal databases and like changes the shit around, rechanges my username and everything like that. Like, and I tried to make a report about that. I'm not sure if the report even made it through. And even if the report made it through, then somebody else can apparently just change it and take the report out of the system. They tried to say that all the reports that I've ever made just disappeared. I didn't even make a report. So no, I've never even made a fucking report before, and I never wrote a single word, online to try to rescue my kid, and just absolute fucking trash. Just can't believe that any mom would ever be put through this, that anyone would ever be put through anything like this. I met one other person who said that they were being put through something like this, and his name was Andrew, and he was this homeless guy that I met. He was drifting through Arizona, but I assumed that he was one of the bad guys because he broke Jack's bamboo stick while they were playing together, which showed me that he was going to act like all the other fucking retarded gang stalkers, breaking things and acting like a fucking dumbass, and those guys acting all dumb together and shit like that. Because whenever I'm around any dudes, they just act like fucking like, unless it's just like an old dude or whatever generally, but if it's like young dudes or any kind of people at all, they'll start acting fucking dumb, they'll start fighting, any kind of dumb shit they can do, playing music really loud, just being really irritating, whatever the fuck. Dudes can fucking I feel like I'm just taking this on too long, but not really. I don't know, I'm just starting to wind down a little bit. Is basically all that I want to express right now. Just feeling just this general weakness at just this hopelessness that I feel, and I shouldn't have to feel that hopelessness. No one should have to feel a hopelessness like that. That their kid is in trouble, and that their kid is potentially praying to God. You know what I mean? I have no idea if he's in distress or not. He could be, for all I know, like laying there every night praying to God for, you know what I mean, for something better than what he has. And I imagine that is the case because the kid is really, really smart. He's very, very gifted. He knows exactly what has happened. it's just so sad, you guys. And I miss him so much, and I really hope that he doesn't get hurt. Like, I'm just so worried that they're gonna hurt him or that they're gonna unalive him. And it's just bullshit that any mom or dad would be put through this. Oh, I was talking about that Andrew guy. Andrew, he said that one of Trump's lawyers, he said that one of Trump's attorneys got a place for him and his son, and that somehow he realized that that attorney of Trump's, whoever it is, was a pedophile and was trying to mess with him and his kid, and that's why he helped them buy a place or something like that. And that then that dude got Andrew's kid taken away so that he would have access to the little boy in whatever foster home or whatever situation. And Andrew said that he'd just been sent through the whole United States, just like pushed through the whole United States. He described that they had targeted him for his kid, which was the same thing that had happened to me, and that he'd been pushed across the nation. But Andrew was a little bit different than me. He was like a little bit more, like I could tell he'd done a lot more drugs in his lifetime than I have. He was still a good person. He was still trying to look out for his kid, but he did say something that I thought was unusual. He said, he was like, I know, I understand that everybody's after that fountain of youth. He was like, but it was just really, I was really upset to find out that that dude was after my son like that. And that was the only other person that I met throughout the United States who voiced anything about being in the same situation that I was in. That somebody had selected their kid or targeted their kid, and were, that they were after the kid. And and these people are going to want to get rid of my kid. They are going to want to unalive him to hide the fact that he is his father's son, basically, or that he's his because the child is a result of a SA incident where I didn't even see the dude. I didn't see anybody. There was literally like nobody there whenever I looked back. And, it was supposed to be my ex-boyfriend, Tim, there in the room with me. And that's definitely not exactly apparently what happened. And Tim had let this other dude into the room. So, and Child Protective Services refuses to give me the identity of my kid's dad. Basically, these people just made me a surrogate mother for them and chased me across the United States, put my kid and I through just like complete torture, starved us. They did so much to us. And then they finally succeeded in taking him away from me. And then they finally succeeded in getting him themselves.